But, he said a lot there. Hey, they're a group in transition.
Yeah,
Listen, hey, you put the tape on, you can see that. But, hey, listen, their core values are high. He's saying what we all think he's saying. Do you agree with them, Gasper, that the Steelers and Patriots are similar in their transitional stage right now?
I didn't think that before Tomlin said it, because obviously the Patriots, they're a year ahead of the Steelers in the transition, and they made the playoffs last year. But, man, just hearing him say that, it's really interesting. Basically saying, hey, my team with Mitch Trubisky at quarterback's a lot like your team. Wow. How do you like that, Patriots fans?
I mean, that is what he's referring to, transitioning from the franchise quarterback. Doesn't Pittsburgh have more talent? They have more talent on defense, yes?
Yes.
Even with Watt out.
Even with Watt out, yeah. Minkah Fitzpatrick is very good. Both teams, I think, really good defensively. Pittsburgh struggles to run the ball. Pittsburgh certainly has better receivers. If you gave Mac Jones, Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, George Pickens, who's a rookie, look out if he had those weapons.
Well, they always find receivers. I mean, Pittsburgh, that's the team.
They're the anti-Patriots.
That's like I would take their cutting room floor scouting reports on receivers if I'm the Patriots, because they just find them over the years. But are you guys surprised that the Patriots are favored in this game against the Steelers? Steelers won last week against the Bengals.
I'm not.
You're not surprised?
No, because I think this is a sneaky must-win for the Patriots out of these first 4 games. And I think this is the easiest of the first 4 games, and I think they're favored for 2 reasons, and 2 words, really. Mitch Trubisky. He was terrible in that game against Cincinnati. I mean, they almost lost the game, even though they had 5 turnovers from Joe Burrow and 7 sacks. He didn't do anything. The only way to get Chase Claypool the ball was to hand it to him 6 times.
Okay, so I had this as the win. In other words, I thought this was a better spot for the Patriots than Miami. And maybe I'm just sort of living in the past. There's just been so many times they've walked into that stadium and had success. And I know the systems are a little different, but it's like that Steeler thing is still in the water. And, desperate team theory to Chris's point there, the highs and lows of it, the Steelers coming off a win, maybe a little bit of a hangover off an emotional win, you needing it more than them. I can see the Pats being favored. And if the Pats didn't look so horrible, I'd actually take them in this game. But I think they're still coming from behind so far. They have so far to go that I don't know if they can close the gap this week.
And look, we know sometimes coaching, inside information is overrated. Institutional knowledge at times is overrated. But I think Brian Flores there, joining this defensive staff, and he knows where your weak points are when things are going well. But now things aren't going well. I'm like, okay, do this. They really struggle with this. Just throw in this extra layer and see if their offensive line has figured it out. Matt Patricia or whoever on that offensive line hasn't gotten those guys together. And I think Flores is just going to pick at their wounds.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be tough. I really do think it's going to be a game-changing defensive play that will win this game. For whoever wins it, it's going to be game-changing.
I'm sorry to jump in, but no matter who the opponent is, they're all looking at the tape now from Miami, and never mind the Raiders.
We can exploit it.
Walk up your safeties, walk back your linebackers, make those offensive linemen in New England make all these choices and calls and reads, and see if they're capable of doing it. Every team's going to do that until the Pats prove they can block it.
And Cincinnati was a team that had issues with their offensive line. The Steelers exploited them, 7 sacks. Pittsburgh has led the NFL in sacks the last 5 seasons. That's an NFL record, so they know how to get after the quarterback. And don't you think Brian Flores has a little extra motivation in this one?
What is it exactly? Because I thought it was just purely a mistake from Bill with his fat fingers and an old guy not knowing how to work a cell phone.
This is just my opinion. But you're going up against Matt Patricia. Matt Patricia eventually got that defensive coordinator title. Flores didn't get that title the year he ran the defense, and that's how Bill does that. But I think that maybe didn't sit as well with some people. And also, I think when you look at it, Bill propping up his buddies for these jobs. You think Bill didn't have anything to do with Daboll getting that giant?
Oh, I definitely think, even though Belichick gave them horrible advice on Joe Judge, maybe they did still listen to him. Clearly, from that text message, Bill was happy for Brian and was, in his corner on that.
And also, do you feel like Bill is really, I know Bill was apologetic about the text according to the transcript of it, but do you feel like he's really jumped out and come to, Brian Flores' defense?
I haven't heard one word.
The only words we've heard were really from Shaughnessy, and this is surprising. It's the Shaughnessy one-on-one piece with Belichick, and he's in defense of his coordinator positions. He goes, well, look, we had this guy a coordinator, he had Josh McDaniels, and he won Super Bowls, and he said, Brian Flores was the coordinator here, even though he never had the title.
never had the title.
He gave Brian Flores credit.
Yes.
Well, like 4 years after the fact for being the coordinator for that defense. And he also said in that piece, if you ever wondered, that Steve Belichick is coordinating the defense right now
yes.
because he said Steve Belichick.
I mean, I'm not saying that there's like, I don't think, it's not like there's like real genuine animus from Flores towards Belichick, but I think you sort of want to show your former boss and this. Look, I should have been the coordinator here at some point. And, maybe you should have been promoting me a little more for some of these jobs than, some of the guys. And look at, you're going to try and rehabilitate Joe Judge and Matt Patricia and get them their next job? We'll see about that.
Yeah,
Okay. I like it.